going to be here in a minute, aka Owen. And I'm Evie, and this is Botany for Kids. Today we're doing
Did you start already?
special Christmas episode.
Hello. Yeah, okay. We're doing a special Christmas episode today featuring some plants you'll see around Christmas time, like this Christmas tree.
Yep.
Yeah, we lost a
And 2 flowers.
We lost a piece of our Christmas tree transporting it to the house. Now, the common name for the most common Christmas tree, do you remember it? What this kind of tree is called? Fraser Fir. Fraser Fir, right? This is a Fraser Fir. It's the most common Christmas tree, but there are lots of different kinds of Christmas trees. Some are pines and some are spruces. Most of them are evergreens, and we associate.
We actually have some of those types of trees now.
Yeah, we have a lot of other evergreens in our yard, and evergreens we commonly associate with the word gymnosperm or angiosperm. Gymnosperm, right? Gymnosperms are often evergreens. So if this grows up, what would it have growing on it?
Flowers or cones. You pause the video and answer at home first.
Yeah, if this were to grow up, would it have flowers or cones on it?
Cones.
Yeah, very good. So this would not grow up and have flowers, right? This is a gymnosperm. It grows up and has cones and little naked seeds inside. And if you haven't seen our video on gymnosperms, feel free to go back and remind yourself of the details of gymnosperms, okay? Now,
with angiosperms, they aren't common trees though, so you might not see many flowers growing.
there are plenty of trees with flowers.
I've never seen one tree.
A lot of trees have flowers that are really small that you don't notice, okay? They don't look like these flowers that are really big that we're going to talk about today, okay? So, the history of the Christmas tree. I know you don't know much about it, so allow me to tell you.
That's rude.
Christmas trees. So, ancient people have been decorating their houses with evergreens for thousands and thousands of years. Egyptians, Romans, lots of different people would bring evergreens in during the winter because... Yeah, people throughout history have decorated their houses with evergreens because it reminds them that the spring is coming soon, even though it's kind of dark and gloomy inside. There's some nice fresh plant inside, right?
My hair looks very bright on the camera right now.
The sun is hitting your blonde hair and it looks lovely, yes. A few hundred years ago, some people in Germany decided they would bring in little trees to decorate them around Christmas time to celebrate Jesus' birthday, right? And a few hundred years after that, they came to America. When they came here, the Germans like to use really small trees, but Americans, of course, have to make things really, really big, and so they wanted the biggest Christmas trees possible. Do you like small or big Christmas trees? Medium. Yeah, we got this one because the top was missing.
Immediately and we loved it. Now a top doesn't work with.
Yeah, it's missing a top, but that's okay because it's still beautiful, right?
No top.
Now, some other plants that you'll see around Christmas time. Here's a really, really common plant you'll see around Christmas time. Do you know what this one's called?
Starts with a T.
It's got some T's in it, lots of T's in it. This is a poinsettia. Poinsettia. Now, this is a poinsettia, or a poinsettia.
And also, just for like context, a lot of people think that these are petals. They actually aren't. These are flowers.
Yeah, so very good, Evie. Evie knows a lot of the floral anatomy on this one. So this poinsettia is in what's called the Euphorbia family, or the Euphorbia. Very good. The Euphorbiaceae.
All the complicated ones have an AC at the end.
Yes.
Marshmallow AC, that's a thing.
Yeah. Okay, so this poinsettia is in the Euphorbia family, which is where we see a lot of succulents, the really rubbery plants you see at the store. Now, do you want to show them these flowers up close, a little closer? So these red parts look like they'd be petals on flowers, but they're not. They're just modified leaves. You remember what the name for modified leaves is called?
More T's?
Yeah. Bracts. Very good. And you can see on the inside, and we'll get a zoom.
You just knocked the other flower.
Oh, we knocked the other flower over. We'll zoom up, we'll zoom in, and we'll get a much closer look at these flowers and their flower anatomy.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right, so let's take a closer look, like we always like to, at flowers of the Euphorbia family, like we see here in this poinsettia. Here, we have flowers that are what we call monoecious. There are separate male and female flowers on the same plant. Here you can see a female with the pistil. And then here you can see the parts of the flowers that have stamens. Those are male flowers. These little silly things that look like mouths are nectar glands, and they make a sugary substance to try and lure in pollinators. These flowers, since they're so unique looking, have a special name. They're called cyathia. A single flower is called a cyathium. Really cool flowers in the Euphorbia family.
Welcome back.
So there's another thing we wanted to tell you guys about the poinsettia.
Oh, we forgot.
Yeah, and it's that plants in the Euphorbia family also have what if you break off a piece of them?
They have a sappy substance.
Yeah.
But a lot of time can be poisonous, but they aren't in this poinsettia.
Yeah, this poinsettia is not particularly poisonous, even though it gets
But
a really bad rap.
If you find something that looks like it's in the wild, please don't touch it.
Yeah, so look at this. Do you want to break off a leaf and
Yeah,
show them? Oh, there we go. Evie's got a leaf that we've broken off. So you can see that white stuff kind of oozing out of the tip a little bit. That can be really irritating, all right? It's not too bad in the poinsettias, but in a lot of euphorbias, it can be really, really poisonous, okay?
That leaf is black.
Now, another thing that we didn't really talk about is the story of the poinsettia, which has a really cool story. So it was named after a guy named Dr. Poinsett. But before that, thousands of years before that, ancient Latin Americans called the Aztecs, they would grind these leaves up and they would use it to make a red dye that they would dye fabrics with. And eventually,
That would be really pretty cool.
it would be a really pretty color. We should actually try that at some point.
Yeah. We can make a video on
At some point, when Christians came to the Americas, they started to associate North and South America. Thank you very much. The Americas. When Christians came to the Americas, they started to associate this plant with Christianity. And there's a story about this woman named Maria who wanted to get a present for Jesus for his birthday, and so she went looking in the woods, and she had no money, and so an angel appeared before her, and she was told to pick some weeds on the side of the road, and she picked them, and they ended up looking like this beautiful poinsettia. And in Mexico, it's called the Flor de Nochebuena, which is just like the Christmas Eve flower. Flower of Nochebuena.
Flor de Nochebuena.
Yeah, Christmas Eve. So, the flower of Christmas Eve. It wasn't until the 1800s when Dr. Poinsett, a guy who did a million different cool things, ended up working for the American government in Mexico. He's said to have brought this flower back and introduced it to the United States, even though we can't really substantiate or prove that story to be true. That's the association with this name right here. Okay, so lots of cool stuff. Now, we've got one more flower for you that we oftentimes see in the stores around Christmas time, and it's this thing. Do you remember what it's called?
Not really.
An amaryllis.
Amaryllis.
This is called an amaryllis, and it is in the Amaryllis.
Easy.
Yeah, Amaryllidaceae family, right? And in fact, this is typically called an amaryllis, even though that's not really accurately its first name. It's something much more complicated that we won't get into. But the Amaryllis family,
What is it?
Hippostrium miniata. Yeah.
Hippostrium miniata.
Yes. Okay. So that's its true name, but it's still in the Amaryllis family, and so we can look at some characteristics of this flower and figure out some characteristics of the Amaryllis family. First, what do you notice about its stem? What's it missing?
It's missing pointy things.
It has no leaves on it, right? There's no leaves on it. At the top, you have all these flowers that kind of look like lilies, right? They've got 6 petals. They all look the same, that we call tepals, if you can remember that from our lilies video. It has 2 sets of 3 stamens for a total of 6 stamens. And then it's got these things sticking out of the top, which are... These are called bracts. These are also modified leaves. Just like these red fancy things at the top of this poinsettia, These things sticking out of the top of this are also modified leaves. They're called bracts. And these are arranged in like a what shape?
What are you doing?
I'm holding it above my head like you would
An
hold one.
umbrella.
Yeah, an umbrella. And so we call this arrangement of flowers right here an umbel. So lots of cool things we can learn from the amaryllis. Now, just like the Christmas tree, the amaryllis and the poinsettia became popular around Christmas just because people decided that they would be an easy thing to sell. These can grow nice and warm. Yes, so this was originally associated with Christmas celebrations, but it wasn't until the 1960s in the States that some Germans, who like to bring their Christmas celebrations with them wherever they go, essentially got on TV and told people that they should buy poinsettias around Christmas time because they can be grown indoors, right? These are not set, you can't leave these outside if it's cold where you live, they'll die. Same for this amaryllis right here, right? But some people got together and decided, hey, we can make these bulbs. These are typically from South Africa. We can keep them cold and then warm them up right before Christmas, and they'll grow these amaryllis for us. And then the poinsettias can be grown indoors, and then we can sell them because of their association as the Flor de Nochebuena around Christmas time.
And that flower thing was bang these
Right, exactly. And so there's a really cool story behind it too. So here's some of the main plants that you might see around Christmas. You might see a Christmas tree. If you've got one, it's probably a Fraser Fir, right? Which is a type of gymnosperm or angiosperm? Gymnosperm, right? You might see a, what is this thing called?
Amaryllis?
That's the amaryllis. This is a poinsettia. These are not easy to say, right? This is an amaryllis. This is a poinsettia. You might see a poinsettia or an amaryllis at the store. Remember, this is a kind of euphorbia, which has sticky, milky sap. And this is in its own family, the Amaryllis. Very good.
Well, the complicated thing.
So, and there's its milky sap.
That has more white stuff.
So try this Christmas season to pay attention to some of the plants that you see in stores or around you. And try and remind yourself of the things that you've learned so far on Botany for Kids this year. I guess we won't see you again till the new year. As always, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Evie.
And this is Botany for Kids.
See you next year.